So we recently went to Manitou Island, which is in the northwest side of Michigan. There's two small islands, North Manitou Island and South Manitou Island.
It's absolutely beautiful.
It was really beautiful. One of the interesting things about the island, though, is that it's overrun by mosquitoes and poison ivy, neither of which you want to have to deal with. Unfortunately, while we were there, I got some poison ivy on my knees. Not sure how exactly. You can take a look here. And it's really itchy, and obviously there's some over-the-counter stuff that you can get. You obviously want to keep it clean and you don't want to scratch it either. But fortunately there's some natural remedies you can use, and you can go to just any old lawn or any old park and you can find these. So Andrew and I are going to take a look at these right now.
So one of the first plants is this guy here, which is called Ribwort Plantain. And the best way to use this is to either chew it up or mash it up with some water, but you can also just rub it straight onto the bites or rash. And we actually used this a lot during our trip last time because there was lots of it growing just all over lawns and stuff that were near the park. Of course, if you do chew it up, it is quite bitter, so be prepared for that, and try not to swallow too much of it. I'm sure your natural instinct will be not to swallow it though. So there's another plant that grows commonly in these sort of big fields and lawns. This is called common plantain, also known as greater plantain. And people used to call it white man's footprint because when the Europeans came over, they introduced it here. And wherever they would walk, it would compact the dirt, and it grows really well there. But you can also use this, well, first you can use it in the same manner as the other plantain, but you can also use these as sort of a bandage wrap if you've got an open cut or something like that. Now the easy way to identify these is you notice these very parallel sort of veins, and on the back of the leaves these are really pronounced and you can feel the texture. This is true for both of these plants. And another common identifying characteristic are these long stalks that grow out of them. And again, you can find these in your lawn, yards, big parks, things like that, just all over. I first learned about this actually when I was watching Remedies, and I realized I had been seeing this just all over, the university campus and on the lawns and things like that. And I was curious and I looked it up, and the compound that is in this is an anti-inflammatory compound, I think called allantoin, but that's sort of what helps with the itchiness.
Actually, my neighbor, she told me that one of the best cures for the itching, at least, is to put ice on it. And actually that'd be my number one recommendation, is to get some ice and put it on there. It will relieve the itching so fast. So
if you're at home, use the ice. If you're not, use the plants. Now there's one more plant that can help with itching, but it's in those woods, so let's go check
take a look.
So the third plant that you can use to treat your rashes or bug bites is here. Something called jewelweed or spotted touch-me-not. It's actually sitting next to some poison ivy here.
Which is funny because lots of times nature, it'll give you both the problem and the remedy in very close proximity.
So what you want to do with this plant is just take the juices from the stem and just rub it on whatever rash you've got. Really, you can just crush the whole plant and do that, but it's the juices in the stem that helps neutralize the rash and the itching and things like that. So the way to identify this plant is these leaves have these very sort of round, soft serrations on them. And the leaves are arranged in sort of this spiral pattern. It's a very common pattern you find in everything in nature, from like seeds in a flower to the spiral of a pine cone. That's sort of how these leaves are organized. And later on they'll have these orange sort of parrot-shaped flowers, and also seed pods that will pop in your hands when you touch them lightly. So you can find this growing usually on the edge of a forest where it transitions from forest to field or something like that. Really useful.
So right here we've got the poison ivy, and it's literally just a few steps away from the jewelweed. And of course everybody, when they're a kid, they learn that leaves of 3, leave them be, leaves of 4, eat some more. And that might just be a Simpsons quote, and I didn't learn that when I was a kid.
Lisa, watch out for poison ivy. Remember, leaves of 3, let it be.
Leaves of 4, eat some more.
But I do distinctly remember 3 leaves is a good indicator of poison ivy. And you can see right here that the bottom 2 leaves, they have these deep serrations, so that it's almost like the bottom leaves have another little growth coming out of it. And then in the center there, you can see that the branch is actually a little bit red, and that's a good indicator as well.
And also the 2 leaves on the side often come directly off of the main stem, or they'll have much shorter stems than the middle leaf, which usually has a longer stem.
And so the resin on the leaf is actually what causes the irritation. The leaf does look perfectly benign, but there is resin on there, and then when that gets on your skin, it irritates the skin and causes inflammation. If you're allergic to it, it's obviously much worse. And I think I might be allergic to it. I know my father is, so.
Yeah, actually, I'm luckily have never been affected too badly by poison ivy, but even if you are not affected by it, you can develop an allergy later on in life. So just be careful anyway. And it's also worth mentioning that there are some poison ivy where they don't have serrations, they sort of have round leaves, and those generally grow on these big hairy vines that climb up trees.
The vines are also very, very bad. Do not touch the vines or you get severe poison ivy. That's happened before.
And for the love of God, don't eat the berries.
Do they produce berries?
The vines ones.
Actually, there was, my neighbor was telling me a story that her sister, when they were younger, they're both really allergic to poison ivy. And so they were trying to get rid of it in their backyard. So somebody had the genius idea to burn the poison ivy.
Oh, God.
And the younger sister ended up getting poison ivy in her lungs, had to go to the hospital. She didn't elaborate on how exactly they cured that, and it was when she was younger, so that might be just completely like fudged memory. But still, can you imagine inhaling poison ivy juice?
Birds actually eat the berries though, so I guess they're not affected.
Wow, dude. Yeah. For them, it's probably like good micronutrients.
Yeah. For them, it's like delicious ivy.
Man, it just, at one level there's chaos, and another level there's order. That is the nature of life. Well, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you stay safe from poison ivy. I know my itching's a lot better.
And if you can't identify it, just wear long pants or something. We can do the vine thing. Or from this
I
one.
was holding.
No, I know. Just.
I mean, I was.
No, I know what I'm doing. Don't worry. That's not what I meant. When I said,
Okay, I don't know what's going on, but okay.
I'm just gonna hand this to you. Is what I meant.
I mean, I was holding the.
No, I know, but that's not where I'm starting from. That's not what I meant.
I know, but I'm just saying for continuity, I should probably be holding that one.
No, because I was talking about the vines when I. Oh, you are right. Well, son of a.
Okay, here we go.
Jesus Christ. Okay.